Hello everyone, welcome back to WB Blacksmithing. Today we're going to be making a nail header out of one of these. I use spikes that are stamped with the HC marks, high carbon, because they're like a medium carbon steel and they work pretty good for this application. A nail header doesn't have to be anything special. I prefer medium carbon steel. So they're tougher, they don't really have to be hard at all. But toughness is pretty important to these because they're getting hammered on and they're a hot work tool. So I'll get this to a forge welding temperature. Be right back. Alrighty, I got a pretty good heat on it, so we'll just start to knock the head up. All about we need just set it down over the far end of the anvil. You can do it over here. On this anvil, the face is wide enough where over here it makes me reach farther away. But I just set that down where the edge of the head was. That way there's no cold shuts. Now we'll get another heat and then start forging the head down a bit. Alrighty, now we got another heat. I'll just start zooming this down here on this edge. It's the edge that's sticking up the most. Needs forged down the most. I figured I'd show you guys this today because I only have one to make. Because I have the rest of them forged for now. You can forge this more round everything if you want. I prefer to just go my belt grinder and refine the roundness of the shape whenever I'm done. So whenever you're punching it and stuff, it'll get kind of messed up a little bit anyways. And it starts off round enough where just dressing the edges of the shape up will pretty much perfect it. Now I'll flip it around, put it back in the forge, and heat up this whole shank here of the spike. Alrighty, so by the time I'm done with the press work and drawing this whole thing out, I like to be able to just basically straighten out everything and make it planished a bit, because a press will leave at least a couple marks whenever you use drawing dies, and even if you flatten it out like I did. I was using combo dies on my press just now. But it's basically like being able to straighten it out and planish it a bit. That way I don't have to spend a ton of time hand hammering stuff. Just bend it over here. This is a really large horn, so you might have to use a different part of the horn on your anvil to be able to get the same kind of radius. Here's the little hook thing and my pair of needle nose pliers, and I just start that and then I'll close it up this way, and at the same time it closes up the hook again where I need it. Basically might have to fix it up a little bit, flatten it out again in relation to the handle, make sure everything's centered in line. There we go. Alrighty, so I work on this part of my anvil because it's the flattest and widest section. And I'm just straightening out and refining this handle here. On this end, we did this half, now we're just doing this half. Make sure it's all flat and any marks from the rough forging on the press are gone. Obviously, if you don't have a press, you won't have to worry about it, but you'll have a lot more drawing out to do by hand, unless you have a power hammer, of course. But I made a lot of these by hand all the way too. Whenever I was doing that, I just used a big straight peen hammer on my horn and just used my straight peen all along and lengthened it out really fast. The handle's all done now. Now we'll just do, like I said, the actual head, or the header part of it. This would have been the rail spike head to begin with. Alrighty, now I'll just take the flat side of my hammer and refine this dome shape. It doesn't have to be too exact. Shape I refine on the belt grinder. Obviously, if you're doing it all with a file or whatever, I'd be a little bit more careful. But this is just the way that it seems to work best for me. Find the roundness here a little bit, straighten it out a bit real quick. Out again, or not flatten it out, but get rid of any high spots. And you could make a swage for these to get a perfectly domed shape, but honestly, like I said, the belt grinder seems to do a really good job for me. On the slack belt part, it works really well, especially if I'm making a lot of them. I can just forge a whole bunch and then take it to the slack belt and go along there. So now that I do have a nice dome shape, and when I'm doing a lot of these, I do use a drill bit and drill like a pilot hole so I don't have to punch the slug out. And then just drift that drilled hole. But for now, on this one, since I'm only making one, I will punch it. And it has to be a relatively small hole compared to like what we normally would punch as a blacksmith. And it'll be a 3/16 inch square hole at the top, and then it'll be slightly bigger at the bottom, like down here, and then up at the top here of the dome, it'll be 3/16. Alrighty, and I am at the smaller WD blacksmithing anvil here, and I'm going to punch a round hole first. And then alrighty, so I'll start at the top and get the top to the size that it needs to be, which is 3/16 inch square. Okay, so I like to use a relatively rough belt. This is a 36 grit, but it has been used quite a bit, so it's not as rough as it normally would be. And I'll just go ahead and round it this way and flip it over and round it this way, and I'll have a rounded shape. And then I'll go ahead on the slack belt down here and just roll the header around until it's all nice and uniformly domed and just shined up. There's no marks or anything, just to make it pretty nice. And obviously I have my safety stuff. Okay, so here it is, nice and rounded off, shined up, and just much cleaner now. You can see why I didn't take too much time to refine the shape while I was forging. I got like 10 seconds of grinding for that round shape and refined that, and then a little bit more and domed it all off, and I went over the bottom a little bit to get rid of any jagged edges that were from grinding on here. Get rid of any burrs basically. So there's that, and now we'll go to the wire brush wheel and wire brush the whole thing. Okay, so here it is. Gave you a little bit of a once over when I was done wire brushing it. But here it is, a 3/16 inch nail header, forged from a spike. Now I'll go ahead at the end of the video here and forge a nail with it. Alright guys, I don't really have any nail rod, but I do have this round mild steel stock. It is 1/2 inch round, which is semi-large for a nail, but it'll be doable. I have my hammer, my nail header, and hot cut setup. I have the hot cut over here because it doesn't fit exactly right in that anvil, and that anvil is going to be going anyways, so I'm not going to waste my time and fit the Hardy tool to it. And whenever my 440-pound one comes, I'll be making tools for that. So I'll set you guys up and we'll make a nail. Okay, could be a little hotter, but again, I'm not going for perfection here. Just an example. Alrighty, just to be a slightly better example of using a nail header. Still not the best, but oh well. The Pritchell hole. Again, feather end does not have a Pritchell hole. Makes this a little bit harder. So I'm at the WB Blacksmith here. Now we'll go ahead and use the header, straighten this out a bit. It's a little bit bent. Let's go ahead like that. Now we'll cool it off. And this is why it's important that the bottom of the hole is bigger than the top. That way when you cool it off like this, the head's nice and, or the nail's nice and loose. Just pop it off. You have a pile of nails on the floor or somewhere you're putting them, like a keg or whatever. You just drop your nail off into the pile and get another one ready. There it is. I'll pick this nail up. Not the finest nail, but you know, it's alright, I guess. Good enough example for me. Now I have other stuff to make, so again, thanks for watching. Bye.